Hey everyone, this is a replay of mine. I took the Monaghan B-hull, which is the one with 2 guns and a lot of torpedoes with torpedo reload booster and high torpedo damage, into Raptor Rescue just for fun and the memes. But I also think it's a really good illustration of why guns are so important for Raptor and for any scenario. I'm going to speed up a little bit.
Enemy force sighted on the horizon.
And you can see from the volume of gunfire I'm able to produce for the first wave, I'm getting very little damage. And while you don't necessarily get a lot of damage off the first wave in the destroyer, usually you can get about 10 times the damage I have right now. Somewhere between 10 to 15,000 damage is typical for a destroyer in another normal destroyer for the first wave. But you can see I'm nowhere close to that with the Monaghan. And I ended up with only 2,600 versus your typical 10,000 plus. Now, we're really slow in taking down the Myogi. We're trying to figure out whether the cruisers are north or south, which is why I fire my guns there. And then we find out they are north, so I turn, change my direction. And if you're not sure how to determine whether they are north or not, whatever battleships are in the group, just have them fire their guns after the Myogi is sunk, and you can see whether they get detected when shooting their guns. Now, if you were to take the normal A-hull Monaghan, you're essentially playing the Farragut. Very similar, at least. So, in terms of something more distinct and unique, you need to play the B-hull Monaghan. And you can see how close I am to the Kuma to get citadels on it. Now, at this sort of distance, you might get some good pens with AP on these cruisers with a Anchan, but no such case for a US destroyer, so I'm not even bothering with it. And then normally I could easily out gunfight an Alba with a DD, but with the Monaghan, it's a very different case. As normally at this distance, I would be firing AP and say Anshan or Nevi to AP Citadel it, but obviously I can't do that with this ship. So I have to rely on my division mates to finish the Alba. And if you're wondering, look at the names. You might see a lot of familiar names. It is a 7-ship division, in fact, and not a group of randoms.
Problem solved, sir.
So I don't have much choice but to leave the Alba for my division mates to handle, while I go anticipate the 2 destroyers. Now, you can see the midpoint is on the northern side, so destroyers will be on the EF line. Which is I'm pointing out there. As you can see, they are shown up. Now, if, say, I was in a group of random pickup teammates, I wouldn't have even bothered trying to take the Monaghan because of its inability to be effective without a lot of guns. But since I'm in a full division of operations group division, I can freely mess around a little bit and see how things are. And if you look at my damage right now, only 15,000. If you saw my tactics video with the Nevi taking out the second wave of cruisers, I can easily be at over 60,000 damage after the second wave alone. Shows you such a big difference in capabilities of play when you don't have guns. Now I'm gonna speed up a little bit again.
Smoke generator started.
Now I am going to be able to achieve some decent damage this game because of, one, the route having so many battleships, and two, my knowledge of the scenario giving me ability to predict what ships are going to show up, as if you learn all the routes and the spawns that show up based on the route, you can significantly boost the damage and XP you get.
Engine boost deactivated.
And I just happened to be fortunate in the route and spawns to be able to get a lot of damage off these 3 battleships with torpedoes. Otherwise, it would probably be a pretty darn miserable game, to be honest. And on top of that, if you've seen some of the replays for other destroyers, I go and gunfight the Miyoko and take it out pretty much by myself. Here, I don't need to. I have the luxury of my teammate doing that. But if I had to, that would be a very tall order to do in the Monaghan. So my damage went from 15,000 to 100,000 with battleships, but that 85,000-ish damage, that's battleship damage. If you want good EXP, you want good percentage of ship HP, and that really is destroyer and cruiser damage that gets you a lot more EXP. Having so much of my XP in HP, battleship HP, doesn't necessarily earn you that much XP, even though it looks like a lot. And now with my knowledge of the routes and spawns, I am headed for one of the spots where the teleport spawns will show up. Gonna speed up a little bit. As it does take a while for the teleport spawns to show up. And here we go. Just know where they show up, and you can easily anticipate and instantly nuke them. Now, I end the game with 130,000 damage, but you can see how much of it was done by torpedo out of necessity, and how much more I could have gotten if I had used guns and had the ability to do so. And with the Alba sunk, that's the last enemy ship. I'm going to speed up just a little bit. As basically done. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.